They tryna turn Trenton into Baby Flint. Been signs by depression on the billboards ever since. 100 years ago we was lynched. Now they use germ warfare to kill us. I'm convinced, got the evidence. I look around and it's evident. Then go down to City Hall and see so much negligence. Real art is intelligent. A true artist sends messages that speak to your intelligence. They fought and died so I can do my thing. Not to get drunk and high or join no game. I will not let none of you die in vain. For my people I bang, bang, bang. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. I rep for you in everything I do. I rep for you in every place I go. I rep for you in everything I do. In every place I go. They say post-traumatic slavery disorder's fake, but I just tell them all to wake up. Everything we went through, what a way down a rape, bro. Isn't our genetic makeup. So I am my ancestors from block to block. Let's build like it's Tetris. We must unite, link up like a necklace. They fought and died and we disrespected. So I come to correct it. The legacy they left I protected. We only think about self and neglected. You're African but yet you rejected. No. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. I rep for you in everything I do. I rep for you in every place I go. I rep for you in everything I do. In every place I go. I do. I go.
Welcome back to New Freedom Exchange.
You're mute, bro. You're on mute, Bishop. Come on, Brother Dean. Get together, man.
I'm snacking and eating and everything.
Come on, man.
Welcome back to New Freedom Exchange, your cultural expression for social dignity and community development. I'm your co-host, Deen, here with
Brother Bilal. We're back at it. New Freedom Exchange. We're here, feeling good. Saturday. We got a very nice show in store for you all here on New Freedom Exchange. So, Brother Dean, how are you, my man?
Doing good, man. Had a beautiful day. Came out with you with the where was we at? Oh,
Farmers Market.
Farmers Market in
Laurelton, Queens.
Queens, absolutely. And met some good people. Had some good production, fruits, smoothies. I had the what's it called? The pops.
Oh, that's what's called. I love. What's it called? I love pop. Yeah, the pops. The pops was good. Pops was good. And I had the mango joint.
Yeah, I had the
mango was the truth, man. Like that, man. Yeah, but so today was a great day, man. I mean, like so far, I mean, like we said, we volunteered today on some of our time down at here in Laurelton, Queens, for the farmers market. It's in its second week of inception. It started by the sisters here who are doing some amazing work out here to address some of the concerns of food injustice. You know, so. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs and also a lot of healthy food. Like you said, a lot of entrepreneurs out there selling jewelry, vegan desserts, seafood. I mean, you can name it, man. They had basically the whole nine out there, and clothes too, as well. So it was really nice, you know. So I'm definitely looking forward to the growth and development of that project, and it's something that I feel as though that project is necessary, for the time to come, man, and so for the future to come, so.
Yeah, one of the things I liked was the openness of the vendors to be transparent about the conditions that they're going through. As being someone, one sister was in business almost 40 years, the sister from the UNIA. She does her own clothes, paint, and everything. And he had new vendors. He has some up and coming vendors. So I'm looking forward to that.
Do we have Sister Marsha in the queue?
Not yet.
Okay.
But the sound started good. We'll bring our guest in. Did you want to introduce him? Or before you introduce him,
I think
technically.
I think you should introduce him.
I'll introduce him. Yes, sir. So I knew this brother since maybe before, I can't say before he knew himself, but I knew him since he was one of the students at my grandmother's homeschool in Philadelphia. Love his family. I guess, I don't know how old he was. I know I was maybe 11, 12. So I know he was single digit, you know what I mean? Before he made his move down south. And I know his mother passed. He probably get into all that, some of his family and his upbringing and stuff like that. So I don't want to give it away. But I love this brother, man. When I got married and was moving around, I would see him here and there, before he made the full transition down south. And he's a go-getter. I know whatever he put his mind to, he'll be successful. And so I know he's working on some new projects and he's in another level of his life. So I just wanted to bring him in, just let him know, he still got his rooting for him, got his back, and anything we could do to help him. Do you want to do the official intro? Or that should be sufficient.
That's sufficient.
We'll bring in,
that's sufficient, man.
With no further ado, Deen Muhammad, a.k.a. Really Khalil. Oh,
What's up, y'all?
You got it, man. How does it sound? Does it still sound good, or?
Yeah. It was echoing a little bit at first, but I think we're good.
Right.
Excellent. So, I think first and foremost, we got to give you a brief introduction, brief bio. So, I think you can give yourself, allow the audience to know who really Khalil is, in your words.
Okay.
Who's really Khalil, man?
Well, Really Khalil is just the artist name that represents me. Khalil is based off my middle name. It was something that my mom called me when I got in trouble. So kind of go see where I'm going there musically. Really is just a prefix that pretty much represents how authentic I am when I talk about my topics. They're all from real life experiences. They're all from, my wants, my needs, my goals, my accomplishments, everything. So yeah, pretty much Really Khalil as an artist is just me. And y'all know me as Bakruddin. Most people know me as Bak. And the newer people are starting to know me as Khalil. So I knew Mujahideen shoot for as long as I can remember. Before I even moved to New Jersey, I knew him when I was in Philly. We went to school together, and I knew like his whole family. They knew our whole family. So like we're basically like brothers for real. So it's cool that you guys had me on here. I'm definitely honored.
It's full circle, man. It's we call full circle, and I think it's definitely an honor, for us to bring on some of the fruit of the community, reference to the artistry, and we have hosted a number of other artists before you here on this platform. So, this is definitely an honor. We're definitely doing I think we're doing a service to the greater good and helping and reconnecting the community to the sounds, the cultural sounds of the artists that we have available. But before we get there, I think my next question or thing would be to we have Sister Marsha here. Oh, wait a minute, we can't go further. Our beloved co-host, Sister Marsha, has arrived.
Hey, let me in. I was sitting in the back like, let me in, little pig.
Yeah, I know, right?
How's everybody doing?
Good, man. Good. Alhamdulillah.
It is good. We got our brother Really Khalil on. Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you too. Thank you.
All right, all right.
Well,
Let's
Sister
jump
Marsha.
into it because I got on late.
No, you're good. You're good. I see you got the new some new gear on. Real quick. You got the pink joints, man. Okay, all right. That's good. That's good. We're stepping up. So yeah. So you good, Sister Marsha? We didn't do a check-in with you, so you good?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
Good. So yeah. So Really Khalil, if you could tell the audience a little bit about what got you into music, and that type of artistry. What got into the music, and what's going on the musical journey.
Well, I'll go ahead on and say this.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't know this, but the first freestyle I ever heard was from Brother Mujahideen right here.
Oh yeah! Oh man,
Okay.
that's a nugget. That's a nugget. That's a golden nugget.
Yeah, that was like the first freestyle I ever heard, and it was amazing to me at the time. Like you said, he was in double digits. I was in single digits at the time. So I always looked up to him as a role model, and just a figure that is an example of the right thing. But when it came down to me actually getting into music, I started off as a dancer, had a dance crew, and we were doing a lot at the time with it. Lots of performances. We had like a vlog show on YouTube. It was getting some pretty good numbers. But then I got to a point where I kind of wanted to create the vibes that I was dancing to. Like dance is a form of expression, but it's also a form of reaction. Whereas I wanted to create that action. I wanted to be the cause and the effect. So I started into music, and it wasn't so great at first. But the first song I ever did, I wrote it, I made the beat, and I recorded like a little selfie music video to it. So like that was me like getting into being like self-produced at the very first stage. Like I said, it was trash, but it was just the fact that I was willing to go through all the steps and try to get a finished product at the end. So now I'm where I am now, and I'm glad that I actually got started and went through all those changes, because even though it was a lot to improve on at first, and even now I feel I need improvement. I feel like I'm at a point now where I'm definitely like, yeah, it's not my final form, but I'm here now. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yes,
So,
sir.
what would you say? What would you say? Do you have any inspirations in terms of in the musical world? Do you have any inspirations, artists that you look up to, or artists that you inspire your craft?
Yeah. I have a few. And every time somebody asks me this, I always have a different artist, and it's because like when I hear something new, it inspires me in that moment, and I didn't even know that I internalize music the way that I do. So the inspiration goes further. It goes into my subconscious, as music does for everybody. But me being a creator, I actually had an example of it. So I'll get into that example, and then I'll go back to my other inspirations. Sure. The other day, I had my music mixed down by a mix engineer out in Las Vegas, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I like this. What is this, like country pop?" And I'm like, "What?" I never considered myself a country music artist, but there was a point in my life where I worked in a restaurant, and there was a lot of country music being played, and then there was another point in my life where I worked in a what do you call it? A circuit board creation plant where they just make circuit boards for different electronics, and they played nothing but country music in there. I have an appreciation for music and art, so I'll never say, "Oh, turn that off," because honestly, if a person likes something, that's a part of them, and I'm never the type to just outright disrespect anybody. So what I do is I take the music in for what it is. What is this person talking about? What makes this country music? What are the different elements that makes this different from the music that I normally listen to on a daily basis? And now, like, I have like bits and pieces of country music in my music, and I had no idea until that was actually pointed out to me. So yeah, that was just my example. I'll get into my inspirations. I love Tierra Whack. She's a very dope example of like not really caring about, fitting into a mold because she has so many different forms of herself when she does, go and get into the music. I don't know if you guys ever heard her music or heard of her, but she's definitely worth checking out. She has like so many different sounds, and I'm sure you'll like at least one of those different sounds. And that's why my sound differs as much, is because I like to experiment as well. So that's definitely one of my inspirations. Another inspiration I would say would be Drake, just because like he kind of just has the formula, if that makes any sense. Like he has the formula to just all around, like musically, when it comes down to it, he's a pop artist more than being a hip hop artist. Pop music is popular music, and you kind of want like more than just one faction of people listening to your music if you want to be worldwide or international or whatever the case is. Um, I would say another inspiration would be, I mean, it's so many. It's so many. I like that newer artist, Toby. Don't really know how to say his last name, but it's definitely an African name. He really speaks on like a lot of social issues and whatnot that goes on. He kind of stays current with his messages. But I just like the fact that he incorporates dance into his music. He incorporates a great cinematography. I always tell people I love minimalism. Like when it comes down to design, when it comes down to really anything, like minimalistic approaches are normally the cleanest approaches, and like his videos are always clean to me. So that's one of the reasons why I really like him. I can go on and on. Like we could literally go on and on this one question. So I'm gonna just let y'all go ahead on.
So it's the first. Who was the first artist again? Who's the first?
Tierra Whack.
Tierra Whack.
Yeah.
And then the other brother is named Toby.
Yeah, Toby. Tobe. I don't know how to spell his last name, but I could Google it. Let's see.
While you're Googling, so I have a question. And so my question is,
ma'am.
Who is Really Khalil, and how does that show up in your music?
Okay, all right. So Really Khalil is just me. I am Khalil. My middle name is Khalilullah. It means close friend of God. Khalil means close friend. But on the flip side of that, Khalil is something that my mom called me when I would get in trouble all the time. Well, not all the time. I was a very good kid. But that's just something that I wanted to incorporate into my title because it's just it's a reminder of duality. And then really is a prefix that just really it means authentic. It means this is really me. You know what I'm saying? I hear a slight echo. I'm not sure if you guys hear it.
Slight echo. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, you hear it now? Do you still hear it?
Check. Nope.
Check. Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, so pretty much my music is a reflection of me, in my purest form, I guess you would call it. And I just try to stay true to myself, true to my experiences, and I don't sway from that. When a person listens to my music, this is a perfect example. I lived in Alabama for 2 years, because like I took a break from Georgia and I came back. And there was a guy that I met out there. He's an artist as well, but he leads a certain lifestyle. I don't want to really get into the details, but he's a really big fan of my music because I'm not trying to portray something that he actually really goes through, and two, it actually gives him a break from the everyday that he has or had to deal with, in that time. So it's actually like uh, I guess an analogy of that would be movies in the Great Depression. Like when you would go to the movie theater, you would forget about, everything that was going on, the terrible economy, everybody going through what they were going through for just, 30, 45 minutes to an hour, you would get away from that. So that's pretty much what my music was for him. So yeah, I just try to stay true to myself, and not just because of that reason, but because I don't feel right talking about anything else but what I go through and who I am. It keeps my music authentic to me, and it also keeps the process easy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's easy to just pull from your own experiences. You went through it, it's you. You felt it. You know what I'm saying? You've experienced these things, so it's easier to tell those stories than to make up one. Where even my imagination is great, but I just use that imagination to make my own story more vivid and bright and picture. If that makes any sense.
And so we've had other artists on who have been from the Muslim community, and often we sort of ask, how their music is reminiscent or relates to growing up in the community, how it was received in the community, um, where it fits in the community right now. So can you speak a little bit to that in terms of growing up Muslim, being in the community, having this artistry, and where that artistry falls in our community, or what's its place in our community?
Okay. Well, pretty much my my musical content, it doesn't necessarily reflect the community like straight on, but
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that what I can accomplish and what I can gather from it will be able to give back to the community. I'm the type of person where I I used to, because like I had to learn from these mistakes, but I used to like give my last, and I'm a giving person. Like I can't not give. That's not even an appropriate sentence, or that's not even a grammatical sentence. But I can't not do it because it's always in my spirit. It's always in my blood to just give. This is something that my mom and my dad always, did. It's something I always watched, and it's something that they always taught. So it's something I cannot ignore. So now I'm to a point where when I'm able to give, that's when I will do it because I want to be able to continue to give. So if I give my last, I can't give anymore. So pretty much like this music journey is just a way for me to be able to have enough foundation and security to then start to give that foundation and security to others. Um, I I recently did an event here in our community in Savannah where I helped showcase some of the artistry around. It's not just about me, it's about, the culture. It's about everybody who this affects, everybody who, you know what I'm saying, who calls themselves artists as well, and then their families and then their communities and their neighbors and so on and so forth. Especially in the times that we're in and that we're going through, we need advocates that are going to actually like help out. And there's a lot of people that blow steam, but they don't actually help out, actually come up with solutions. And there are many solutions that can happen by able-bodied people. So I just want to reach that level of success that will allow me to be an able-bodied person and start to make the changes that I want to see in my community and then other communities abroad. I don't know if that answered your question.
I mean, it sort of does, and so it leads me to this next question, which we've also asked previous artists, or they shared sort of some of their experiences with us, is that do you feel like you've ever come to a point in your artistry where you, and I'm going to use the term because it's the only term that sort of comes to my mind at the moment, but that you've had to come to that crossroads of either selling your soul or sticking with what you know is is either what you've been taught or what's true to Khalil, you know what I'm saying, or really Khalil.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever come to that point? Like, we had some artists in the past say, well, I could have gone so far, but they wanted to know how big my butt was, and it was just like, okay, well, we ain't
Praise.
doing that. So have you
Praise.
ever come to that point in your artistry where you felt like you were forced to make a decision because you were either being asked to do something that was against, what's true to you, because you talked about being true to you, or you just felt like, okay, I'm at a point where I really got to make a decision about what it is that I'm doing because this doesn't fit who really Camille really is.
Okay. All right. So that is a multi-layered question. So I'm going to give you a multi-layered answer. So I'll start from smaller and I'll go to bigger. On a smaller level or on a more physical level, I've gotten into situations or so-called opportunities where I had to make a decision where do I let this person take advantage of me, or do I continue to go on my own path and figure it out for myself? So there's been times where I've been presented with contracts and you read it and it's like I know what I'm reading. Like, it sounds like you're trying to take ownership of everything that I have and everything that I'll ever do. And I don't get really any type of real advantage in this situation. Like, is that what's going on? And, the people, they try to sweep it under the rug. Oh, no, don't worry about it. Just pretend that I never gave it to you, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, a person reveals himself to you in that point, you kind of can't ignore it. So like I've had that type of opportunity, even further in another business venture where I had to have someone sign an NDA in order to continue in the path. And they read my NDA contract and they said, "Oh no, but what if I want to blah blah blah?" And they really just like revealed that they had other malicious intent. You know what I'm saying? And that NDA didn't allow them to do it. So on a smaller level, I've had times times that I've curved and dodged those bullets, and other times where I actually did get hit. But further on, it does. I had a conversation with one of my distribution managers the other day, and he was telling me that I'm literally in the position, unlike many other artists, where I can do what I want to do because I have as much control as I need in the process. And I also have not portrayed myself as otherwise previously. And I haven't gone into any deals as something that's not me as well. Because once you enter a deal, that deal was probably presented in the first place because of the character that you're portraying. So you have to continue that. Like, you can't sway, like you can't shift. 21 Savage is a good example of that. But yeah, so like I feel like I have the control. There are, and I'm being real with you, there are aspects of my music that are a little questionable, but I never really like cross a line that a lot of other people cross. Like, I'm creative enough to be able to, keep a balance. And if you go and listen to my music, I'm not sure if you have, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about there. But like, there's been plenty of different times. There's been times where I've been scared, like stay up at night, scared of what's to come because of how fast everything is moving. And I've heard stories and this and that, but I haven't really gotten to a point where that fear has literally presented its ugly head to me. Like, I've never gotten to that exact point. I hope I never do. And if I do, I hope I handle the situation well. And I hope that I'm still able to achieve success after that situation. But yeah.
So I just want to get a little deeper in this conversation, because this is definitely where we need to be.
Yeah.
So I had a chance to interview the artist Trinidad James through the We Buy Black platform with good brother Sharif Abdul Malik, who lives in Atlanta. And one of the questions I asked him, which I think is prevalent to ask all artists, especially of African American descent in the culture, in the industry, who are involved either independent or independent or signed, it doesn't matter. I asked him, I said, so the question was about your mental health or any depression, any traumas that you have gone through your musical journey that you would like to share, and speak on, because we know, as Sister Marsha explained with her question, a comment, then our question, in reference to how the industry can be. It can be very cutthroat. You can lose a lot of friends. You can get screwed over, Rice Pilaf with a 360 deal. You know what I mean? Like, they could screw you all types of different ways. You know what I'm saying? And they do it to both men and women. You know what I'm saying? You don't really care. So it's like, have you went through any type of depression or suffered any type of depression? Anything that of the sort that you're willing to share with us?
Yeah, man. I've gone through so much, and it's so crazy because I'm able to still be a lively, uh, generally positive person even after all of the experiences that I went through. So I'll start from when the rock slide started. And in 2013, I lost three people in 1 year in a matter of 2.5 months. It started off as one of my best friends. And then a few weeks later, I lost my grandmother. And then a few weeks after that, I had to see my mother leave as well.
Mm.
That was like literally the toughest. I feel like I went through that because there was so much more to come, and I had to build a tough skin because after that point, my life really it got a little fragile, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, I experienced homelessness. I experienced dealing in a relationship where, the woman just had a lot of mental issues, but I'm such a good person and I'm just so nice. I thought that I could help this person when in reality, she needed to help herself and she needed to really figure out her own demons. But her negative energy brought my like it affected me as well, and it brought my life to even a lower level. I've gotten into a situation where there was like a business dealing and I got literally nothing out of it, but I did so much on the back end to help it actually manifest. But all of these things taught me something. Not only did it build my strength, but it gave me lessons in the process. I'll never let myself be screwed over again in that way. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say that if anyone else leaves me that I would be able to handle it, better, but I do understand that life does come to an end. Um, we never expect it when it happens, and
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know when that happened back then. I don't know, man. I know when I'm depressed, I don't eat, I don't sleep. I don't like I have like a one-track mind.
Mm-hmm.
Recently my brother, he got arrested and locked up for something that he didn't do. And the
Mm.
whole time I was trying to get him out. And literally I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, I had no appetite, I had no desire for pleasure because I knew he couldn't have those same pleasantries where he was. That's the type of person I am. I'm very empathetic, and that hasn't even changed, even through all of the stress that I've gone through in my life. So like I do talk about my mother, my grandmother. I talk about all of these experiences that I went through. I've had friends just reveal themselves as snakes. I've had people put themselves over me, and I understand you have to be selfish in life because you live in your own body, but you shouldn't be selfish as much to the point where you just like step on people's necks, if that makes any sense, as you walk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's happened to me. I've gotten stepped on. I was just really a lot of relationships couldn't stand the test of time. And that even put me into a state where I didn't trust anybody whatsoever. And I had to even balance that. It's really about letting a person prove themselves to you instead of not trusting right out the gate and not giving them the opportunity to. So it went from really extreme in that aspect to really balancing out to, okay, people are just going to be people, and you don't know what's going to happen because we don't have that ability to see the future. So what you do is you prepare and protect yourself, but still allow a person to prove their worthiness, their loyalty, their worth, whatever you want to call it. Still allow people to connect with you, because without connections, we're not even human. Like, humans live to connect. Like, we exist to connect with other humans. Like, if that wasn't, the thing, then I don't know. Like, most of the infrastructure of the world wouldn't even be what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I had to really like balance out my emotions, balance out my experiences, like just the lessons that I learned, to be able to continue to drive in the right direction. So I'm proud of myself. I will
Mm.
say that. And as we all are, everyone is still learning, on their journey. I just feel like I learned a lot in a very short span of time, and I don't think too many people would really be able to make it through
Mhm.
without completely deteriorating
Mhm.
interior. So I really feel like I'm a strong person, and all of that stuff even happened for me to experience even more in the future. I'm just trying to create as much positivity as I can so that it still balances in my future. So
So
yeah.
no, so I just have to ask. I mean, maybe you answered this already, but if you could delve deeper into how you into two things I want to ask. How have you dealt with your depression and trauma and things of that nature, or and if there are any tips that you would give, but really how you dealt with it on a personal level. Is there any things that you were doing to, you know, alleviate your mind from those things? And then the second question is mainly, do you feel as though the community, and when I say the community, I'm speaking of the particularly the African American Muslim community, are supportive or worse or could have been more supportive for you in your life, as far as mentorship or anything of that sort, assistance in any way, or in any part of your journey for that matter. So those are my two questions.
Okay. First question, I would say that I went down a very dark road for a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. Not dark to the point where I was just out like robbing and killing people. Not dark like that, but dark as in like I found a few vices. I started indulging a lot, and it got to a point where I noticed that my mind and my body was deteriorating, and I had to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to cut some things off, which I did, and I'm proud of myself for that as well. There's not a lot of people that can say that they're able to separate themselves from something that is presented as like this is gonna make you forget or this is gonna make you feel good for the moment, and you just keep doing this and you'll be okay. But really, like outside of that bubble, like there is every life is still moving, things are still happening. So you go in that bubble and then you come out of it and then there could be another thing. Then you want to go back in the bubble because life is still moving. So I really had to like clean up, my mental space, my spiritual space. I had to really like clean out a lot of that garbage. So I'm proud of myself for doing that. But at first, when I went to like to handle that stuff, that was my first reaction to just smoke, drink, party, all of that stuff. Like it was just to just do that, you know what I'm saying? And in reality, like all I really had to do was take it in like I was supposed to, because that's the whole point for anything to happen to you is to take it in and then and grow from it. You know what I'm saying? So I did grow from it eventually. It just set back the process, and that's fine with me. I don't necessarily regret anything I went through because now I know not to go back down that road. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that makes any sense. Like, I've been there, I've done that. So now I need to go elsewhere. Like, that road didn't lead me anywhere. Now I need to go somewhere that's going to take me to the destination that I want. So my advice would be really like, if something of those magnitudes happen to you personally, it's always best to seek refuge, like one and whoever you feel is in control of everything. In our case, it would be Allah, it would be God. To seek refuge first, and also to go to someone that you feel is authentic, you feel will have something precious that they can give you in return for you telling them. Like, we know that praying and going, putting hitting that floor is gonna do something in one aspect. But sometimes, like I said, it's connections that get us through life. Sometimes you really need that mentor, you need that partner, that wife, that husband, that person to literally support you while you're going through that. Because if you don't have that person, you may feel alone, and sometimes physical presence only like affect people. Even though that's not true, like sometimes just that physical presence could be the factor that could help. So just seek refuge in the Lord, but also seek refuge in someone that you trust and that have proven themselves to you. It could be your mother, your father, you know what I'm saying? Like it could be anybody that you feel is worthy of carrying your baggage. Like that's what it is at the end of the day. Like it's your baggage, but if you feel like they're willing to and that they'll handle it well and they'll give you back a different package that's going to help you, definitely do it. Like I've always been the type of person that felt bad for telling somebody what I'm going through, you know, my pain, my struggle. And generally I don't unless I just can't handle it at all. And that's what I'm saying. If you can't handle it, if you've done everything that you possibly can do from what you know how to do, sometimes another person's perspective may be able to make that change for you. Sometimes there's people out there that will physically, you know, reach their hand into the situation and try to make some changes for you. But at the end of the day, like you gotta try to fix it for yourself. So that's why you go and you pray first. You seek guidance first that way, because you never know what can enter your mind like from that. Um, I've done a lot of the both. I will say that that I was let down a lot, not by everyone, but I did go to some family. I did go to some friends.
Mm-hmm.
I seek the refuge in the people that I thought were able to make a change. They just weren't able to. Um, I did see like signs, you know, later on that really they were kind of being maybe stingy or selfish. But at the end of the day, when it's not your problem and a person doesn't want to be bothered with it, they're not the right person to go to anyway. When it's not their problem, you know what I'm saying? So you got to take responsibilities for your problems regardless. And a lot of times going down that dark path that I went through at first, well, all the time, going down that dark path I went through at first is not taking responsibility. It's literally sweeping that responsibility under the rug.
Mm.
And eventually you're going to sweep a tack under there, a knife under there, some glass under there, and you're going to cut yourself. So like, it's really about addressing those issues and letting yourself learn and grow. A great analogy actually this it was that analogy was presented to me from my girl and then also from a friend, and they had similar stories. The story is pretty much so for my friend, he knows somebody. She was telling him a story of how she grew up, and there was like food that they wouldn't like, and every time they didn't like some food, they would pretend like they ate it and they would throw it behind the fridge. Every single time they just throw it behind the fridge, and the mom would always be like, "Oh, you ate your food," blah blah blah. Eventually, there was a smell that generated in the house. There were bugs, you know, and the mom was like, I'm clean. I clean up. I don't understand this. What is that smell? Where is it coming from? I don't understand this. And eventually, you know, she pulled out couches. She looked behind stuff. She finally looked behind the fridge, and she saw all of the food that they weren't eating over a course of like a month or so. And yeah, they got in trouble, but that also goes to show that like when you throw the things that you don't like behind the fridge, it's gonna eventually come back in another form, in a nastier form. You know what I mean? So that's just really for a lot of like the younger people who haven't gone through uh necessarily what I've gone through, or maybe the people that's going through it right this second. That's a good analogy that should tell you right now, like you have to address what you're going through. You have to address your problems. It's not easy. Like it's way easier said than done. Trust me, I know because I've been through it. It's way easier said, but it's definitely worth it in the long run. Definitely.
Yeah, go ahead,
So I
Marsha.
have a question. Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
So what's your responsibility as an artist? And by responsibility, I guess we can say, I guess, to yourself, to the community, to your fans, and I guess in answering that, just kind of tell us who are your listeners? What is that fan base? You know, what do they look like? What do they like? You know, other than listening to your music, like what are they into? Kind of give us a feeling for that.
Okay. So from the fans and supporters that I know personally, most of them are either artists themselves, not necessarily in music, just art in general, entrepreneurs, uh, mothers, fathers, really everyday people. But these are people that still have a knack to want to have a purpose. So it's my responsibility to not abandon my purpose. Like everybody already knows at this point, okay, this guy's a musician. If he quits, then you know that means I should quit. You know what I'm saying? Like it looks like he has it in a bag right now. So if he quits or if he fails, I'm probably not going to make it, or whatever the case is. So that's my number one responsibility is to literally like keep pushing forward, keep reaching for opportunities, making connections, networking, and every time that I am able to speak my mind, like a situation like now, I should literally like speak my mind, speak my truth, my experiences, and give the best advice that I possibly can. I even do that personally. If a person comes to me, like I try to be as prophetic as possible. Like I try to be as prolific as possible when it comes down to my advice, because at the end of the day, I've been through some of that stuff, and even the stuff that I haven't gone through, I've seen examples of it, and I should at least be able to stray you in generally the right direction. And if I don't know something, I always tell a person, I don't know. Like I honestly, I don't even know. But the best thing to do is, well, for certain things, go ahead on and hit Google, because Google knows just about everything. So yeah, but like when it comes down to like the experiences and things like that, like I literally try my best to just give them that advice. It's up to them to take it or not, though. But I've given that advice to like so many people. I've given, people have gone through different situations, domestic violence, uh, you know, not being so sure about, their craft, branding, marketing, whatever the case is, minute to gargantuous, like I'm going to at least give you my take on it. But what was the other question you asked me? I'm sorry.
So I mean, the general question was just like what your responsibility is as an artist,
Yeah.
primarily either both to yourself and to the community. Like so I'm just sort of I was actually looking at some of the lyrics to your music
Mm,
as you were speaking. So
mm,
I'm just kind of like what's the responsibility to both yourself, the community, and then I kind of asked about who your listeners were because I'm like,
oh
okay,
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
is it my daughter? Like I got all
Yeah.
girls, so I'm like, do my children listen to this? Do they not listen to this? So I started to look up the lyrics just to see, certain things on songs. So that's sort of what prompted me to ask the question. It's just like, what is your responsibility as an artist?
Okay.
That's the
I
primary
got you.
question.
I got you. So the tail end of that question, and then I'll double back. But like I said, most of the people who I know are my fans and supporters, they have like their own dreams and goals. Most people that listen to my music are millennials and older. That's just from the insights and the stats that I have access to as an artist, and also from my distribution manager. Like most people are the ages 25 and up. But at the end of the day, anybody could hear it at any time. He was giving me a rundown of some of the countries that listen to my music, and I was blown away. You've got Mexico, Spain, France. I knew about Ukraine. I knew about the UK. You also have Brazil. You have some in Canada, some in the Netherlands. I think I have some in Germany, a few in Switzerland. Like it's pretty out there. Australia as well. It's pretty out there when it comes down to like the expansion. These are people I don't know. I've never met them. They just decided to either search for a person named Khalil, or they stumbled across my music. So I do know
Right.
that the reach, I do know that the reach is far and wide. But from the people that I know, and also from the stats that I have access to, most are millennials, and most millennials at this point in time are trying to do something with their life. So it's up to me to show that like it's possible to pursue your goals without you know, even with that fear, because we all have the fear of failure that makes us human, that makes us, you know what I'm saying? If you don't feel fear that you're gonna fail, that maybe your task is too easy, or maybe you just have no heart at all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everyone has even the slightest fear that maybe this all could be stripped away, or maybe, you know, I'll never be able to reach the point of success that I really want. But it's up to you as a person to, you know, literally say, shut up to that voice and continue, like just keep pushing. Cause I always tell people, you know, we're all gonna die eventually, like eventually. And when I die, I want to die with a smile on my face. Like literally, I want to be happy that my kids are straight. I want to be happy that I accomplished everything that I accomplished. That doesn't just include music goals. That literally includes everything that comes from accomplishing those goals. I have things that I want to do for the community, like that other people have never heard of. Like when I mention it, people are blown away from the plans that I have for the community. It's needed. We need these things. We need examples of public figures and people who are able that actually care to give back. Maybe me saying this right now could stunt my chances of making it, because as we know of the industry, like they want someone that could be controlled. But at the end of the day, it's still up to me to still want what I want. You know, I'm a human. I want what I want, and it's up to me to still try to get what I want. So what I want to do is I want to just make sure that the generations under me, and I just learned the generation after Generation Z is Generation Alpha. So we're starting over. Yeah, we're starting
Wow.
over now. So from Alpha on, I want them to, well, not really just Alpha on, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I
Yes.
really want,
Yeah.
I don't want to be afraid that the world is just going to blow up one day because we got an idiot at the controls of the don't blow this up button. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to make sure that people are maybe have the funding that they want to pursue the careers that they want, or people are exposed to certain things that they wouldn't necessarily be exposed to. I'm talking like artistry or career paths, exploratory things. Like, I want to be able to provide those opportunities. And I'm happy to say that there are more and more of those every day. I just want to be one of them. You know what I'm saying? I actually used to work with kids before. So I already know the feeling that I get from it. I like being a role model. I like when people look up to me, they come to me for advice. I give them advice. This person may be watching this right now, but I'm not going to say any names. I was teaching an after school class one time, and he came to me and he said, "What should I do?" I said, "Okay, what?" He said that there was a guy who gave him a gun and told him to use that gun to shoot someone that was messing around with his girlfriend. Okay. Now, first things first, and this is before I had all the facts. I said, "Look, man, why don't he just do it himself?" I don't condone it, obviously, but why is he telling you to do it, of all people? And it finally got revealed to me that he was also another person that was messing around with his girlfriend. I told him he needed to stop messing with this person, his girl and the other guy, because really all you're doing is setting yourself up for failure, for death, really. I had to give that, and I had to be real about it. You know, the conversation, you know, it was a little bit more real. I had to paraphrase that a little bit, but I had to I had to scare him out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what you want to do, because at the end of the day, if a person is trying to tell you to do something that somebody else is doing, who you're doing the same exact thing, don't even mess with that whole situation. And I've gotten other things where kids came to me, high schoolers came to me and told me similar and other types of situations. And I'm glad to say that I gave them the right advice. So like I said, I'm always that person. I want to give back. Like, I want to give back in more than just monetary, just in any way that I possibly can. But I need to have a stash to give from. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm trying to get that stash, that vault, so that I can then start handing out the gifts. That's really what I want to do. Okay, so I'm supposed to loop back. Yeah, no. I think I did. I think I did that. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think you did. I think you did. That was the only question that I mean, I'm sure I'll come up with other questions because I generally we do. Like I said, I was being lyrical. I'm like, I don't know about for my daughters. I know we talked about kids and
Yeah.
it's yeah, but
But
thanks for
but
sharing.
but I think you mentioned some real issues. And I just want to go back a little bit and currently what you said to a reference to the students that you were mentoring, the brothers that you were mentoring, with the whole gun situation and prior to that, something you said earlier, a reference to your problems. And sometimes we think our problems are just our problems. Yes and no. Yes, it's our problems that we have to deal with internally, but when it comes out to the public, when I say the public, it comes out to the community, it becomes a community issue. Not just for you. It's not a Really Khalil. Oh, this is just Really Khalil thing. No, it's a trend. It's a trend across the board. You know what I'm saying? You have young men, African American men, struggling with mental health. That's not a Really Khalil issue. It's an issue that's trending. That's all happening. You know what I'm saying? And lack of mentors, lack of resources. These things are trending in our community. So when you mention community, that stood me up, man. I mean, like, wow. I said, so we're really talking about this show. The premise of this show, the premise of this platform, excuse me, this platform is for what? Community development through empowerment. Through empowerment. And why we say that? Why we combine the two words? The empowerment we kind of did receive the empowerment. We kind of received the empowerment, how you may say. In summer, we kind of received the empowerment through some of the figures that we know in our community who stood up and established things, established movements. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, the Huey P. Newtons, Fred Hamptons. We can go on and on and on. You know what I'm saying? Of empowering figures, both male and female, empowering figures. You know what I'm saying? So we had a duration of empowerment, right? And we know it got cut. It got cut, and due to white supremacy and COINTELPRO and all that. We understand that, but we also now need to develop what we have. Development. We need to develop what we have, and if you could, Really Khalil, before we go to station identification, we're going to do station identification. Then you can answer this question. In reference to, if you could give you don't have to give all your plans. I don't want you to give your plans on live air, but if you could elaborate a little bit more in reference to the community development and through empowerment piece, what does that mean to you as Really Khalil, as an artist, as a young African American male? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that look and feel, and what does that look like starting now for 2020 in the social political climate that we're in? Dean, we can do the station identification. You want to do the station identification?
Yeah, can you hear my sound? How my sound? My back?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, you good.
Okay, I hear echo my sound. Yeah, this is station. What station? New Freedom Exchange, Blog Talk Radio. Your social, cultural expression, for social dignity and community development empowerment. We're here with Really Khalil, good young brother, friend of mine. You have my co-host, Sister Marsha, and Imam Bilal. We had a great discussion, and we're continuing. I did have a question, but I'll wait till you answer that, and I'll come back on the tail end.
Okay, cool. All right, so a little bit of my plan. I was in what would you call it? You'll call it a program. Yeah, I was in a program put on by a nonprofit organization called AWOL, All Walks of Life. And AWOL pretty much was a program that allowed troubled youth to have something to do that's productive, but not just giving them just a task and saying, okay, do that, learn that. Okay, now you learned it. Okay, no. Actually learning a task and putting it to use through various different ways. So one of those things, they put on a hip hop play every year, and pretty much it was like hip hop history. There was one called MC the Griot. There was another one that talked about civil rights. There was another, and they just went on and talked about different points in history. So you were able to, learn the fundamentals of acting and then put that to use in front of a lot of people. So that play had many different showings, and those showings were to all of the schools in the city, in the area. So it was actually learning, planning, and execution of new things that you're learning. This is taking your mind completely, if well, mostly, if not completely, off of these street activities that you could be doing. So that's one thing that, and I was able to be in that program and be one of the kids. I wouldn't say I was a troubled youth, but I would say that it gave me things that I wouldn't have gotten without that program. And I can speak for the rest or most of them that they were also able to get that as well. The other program that I talked about, that I was actually a mentor in, is an after school program. I taught audio engineering, poetry, public speaking, self esteem classes, and that was just me kind of like being like almost like a big brother, while teaching them the things that they signed up for, which is really cool. There's another program where I taught the fundamentals of coding to elementary school kids, and that was like a STEM program. I'm not sure if you guys heard of STEM, but STEM, it represents like science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So like there's like a bunch of different STEM programs out here that focus on, kids learning the fundamentals of these scientific trades, which is really, really dope, because we need more engineers, we need more mathematicians and people who work on algorithms and coders and all of that. We need more of that coming from our communities. So I was definitely happy to be a part of each and every one of those programs. What I want to do is another program that focuses on those things and a few other things by having other people involved. But I just want to be able to actually give the things that I never received when I was that age. I had to learn it later in life, and I had to fail in the process of learning it. So what I want to do is I want to give tax classes and business classes and other things of the sort, because this is the age where people are wanting to be entrepreneurs. This is the age where it's way more, I would say, crucial to not know about taxes and other things of the sort, because you could possibly not come back from these mistakes. So these are the things that I want to also include as well. Right now, me and my brother have a movement out here. It's not really fully established yet, but it's something that has been put out in the news and whatnot. It's called Love Matters. And what that does, that focuses on not just the one main definition of love that people normally know. It focuses on the fact that we all may have differences. We all may have different beliefs, different races, creeds, orientations, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, the one universal thing that connects us all is love. And love is passion for what you like to do. Love is appreciation for your neighbor. Love has so many definitions, but that's why it's so universal, because each and every one of those definitions applies to every one of us as individuals. So that's why it's so universal. So instead of, you know, we I agree to the fullest extent that Black Lives Matter. Every single time that I see a black man or woman get murdered, especially for no reason, there's really no reason at all to do it. Every time I see that happen, it really like grinds my gears. Like I get really, really upset. I've even like hit Facebook with some lives. Okay, I hear a little echo.
Okay.
Yeah, I've even hit Facebook with some lives and some posts about how much like I really don't like that it's happening. It affects me because I feel afraid for my own life every time I step out of the door. Like I like to live life like, this is our planet to live on, so we should be able to go where we want. We should not necessarily do everything under the sun, but I'm saying we should be able to live freely without having someone sitting there watching you, expecting you to be a demon in human form. Why do I have to feel that way? But at the end of the day, that's what we deal with, and it's a global issue. So I truly believe that Black Lives Matter. But what I don't agree with is when we start going at odds and different, like you got blue lives, black lives, all lives, and then even within those people, they even have separate like beliefs and things that differentiate them within those factions. So what we wanted to do is kind of smooth it all over with something positive to like allow people to understand that yes, we may believe different things, but we have to all agree on this. So we started that in 2015. We would go to different busy intersections out in Savannah, and we would hold up a cardboard sign that says "Love Matters." It started off with my brother. I joined in. Some friends joined in. It got bigger and bigger. And you would literally see the reactions of those people driving by. You know, some people they're faced with positivity and their negativity just comes out even more. It's crazy, but we had a generally positive reaction from everybody of all races, even from cops. It was great. People took pictures. It was really amazing to see that we could bring that positive side out of a lot of people. So that success of that really gave us like some hope that we can actually make a difference literally by saying one phrase and doing nothing. So imagine putting that phrase to use. Imagine actually going out and showing examples of why love matters and what love can do for our community. So yeah. So that's something that we're also working on in the back end as well, and I want to include that into my plans. Um, I don't say this a lot because I really I don't want anybody to feel any way. But honestly, if somebody feels some type of way, then oh well. But one of the things I want to do is I want to be able to be wealthy enough to buy cotton fields. If you've ever been down south, you'll see that there are so many standing cotton fields still, and all you do is get a feeling of, my ancestors used to be working those fields. They even still pay people to this day like $100,000 an hour to work these fields. Like it's just such a negative emotion that comes from seeing them. So what I want to do is I want to buy a cotton field. I want to burn down half of it, control flame. I want to sell the other half, get my money, some of my money back, and I want to build on that land facilities that helps for our youth. I want to literally build facilities on top. I want to build positivity on top of negativity. I want to literally change that past, the shape of the land to something that's going to help. And that's just one of the things on my bucket list. You asked me for some plans. I'm letting you know. Like that's what I want to do. If I were to do that, I could die with a smile on my face. People are very stressed because they haven't found their purpose yet, or they feel like they haven't found their purpose. But once you finally see it and you accept it and you work toward it, it gives you so much strength, fuel, excitement, happiness, just knowing your purpose and knowing that you're going in that direction. So like that's just one small fraction of what I want to do to give back to the community. And honestly, if I'm the first one to do it, cool. But if somebody else wants to do that exact same thing, I'm not totally against that, because at the end of the day, it's getting done what I want done. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Excellent.
So,
No, that was cool. That was
go
cool.
ahead, Dean, and then I have a question.
Oh yeah, no, I was just going to say, because one of the things that really I wanted to have a private conversation, but it was important that you get your voice heard in the public forum. But I was really appreciative when you came out with your latest song, and like Marsha said, alluded to, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for everybody. It's not definitely for your daughters if you have, a certain type of level of situation. He's like my little brother, so I could. I don't know if we want to say the title. I ain't gonna smack him upside the head. But no. No, but one thing that was key though, even if you check out the title, like one thing that I really appreciated in what you said about that when you was introducing it and you was trying to get people to like it and share it, you said something that hit right at my core, because like you just said, being honest, being telling your truth, and telling it real like it is. And you said, for those of you, if you have certain people on your timeline, you might not want to share it. You gave a precaution before you gave out what somebody could take and ostracize you to it. You know what I mean? And so it's like that in itself told something to me beyond what I already knew about you. It said no matter what, because I don't know everything you've been through, just like you know everything I've been through and others on the platform. But all of us been through something, and we know where we come from, and like you said, we know where we want to go. But the in between is where it really counts. I mean, that's where it really counts. And so I really appreciate in you that strength and that courage to either go into something that you might have some conflict or might have some challenges, but nonetheless you still know like you got to go where you got to go. And so the thing I wanted to ask was in reference to protection and prayer, right? Knowing you a little personally than others, I know your family, man, your mother and father was very, very keen, on actually all the families that we were associated with were very, and like I am today, and us on this platform, we're very crucial. Like you said, it's very crucial how we protect what we birth, what we working on, because this environment doesn't care. They don't care anything. You know what I mean? It's no holds bar, and we don't want to be. Uh, we don't want to be not only victims of the Satan, we also don't want to be helpers of the Satan, right? And so for you, what gives you that protection and that prayer to get you through what you got to get through, even if you don't want to get through it?
I'd say, let's see. Well, I would say that one thing about positivity change is that it can be birthed from anything. Me knowing that myself from being through negative situations, that I literally like rebirthed from a lot of the trauma, the destruction in my life. I I'm trying my best to like let go of certain grudges. Like, we're human, sometimes something might remind you of something from the past, and then you might feel how you felt in that same moment, but you have to remind yourself that this is the present. So I'm still like dropping grudges off, stuff like that. I just know that I was able to get through it and still have a positive attitude, not give up in life. So one of the main messages in my music, it is that throughout all of the other stuff, if you sift through it, you can still hear that, you can go through the worst and still come out on top. You just have to have that fuel. You have to have that positivity, and you just got to stay at it. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things that like I try to say as much as I possibly can, and as many songs as I possibly can in different ways. I want to empower people in my music as well. So that's what I feel that I have to do. I have to empower, because I know that most of the people that's listening to it, they look like me. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I got international, whatever. But even coming down to it, there was a guy who commented on that latest video, and he was from Brazil. And I told him to follow my Instagram. He followed, and I saw that he was black. He's a black man that lives in Brazil. So it's crazy. It's like even in Brazil, he looks like me. You know what I'm saying? So I feel that we all, universally go through a similar struggle. No matter where you live, no matter how you came up, there is some sort of a struggle there when it comes down to whether it's socially, financially, mentally, whatever that is. There is a struggle, because our race was literally like put through an experiment and shaped and formed, and now we're at this place that we're at now. Like, there was really somebody there saying that we have to structure this way so that these people turn out this way. And even talking about it right now, I get mad. Like, it really makes me upset. But this is something that I can't control. It's only something that I can change now for the present and the future. So with my music, I know that I won't have a far enough reach with the resources that I have if it isn't kind of like wrapped in like a certain color bow, if that makes any sense. So that's really what, like, I'm trying to still like push positivity, but I'm trying to ship it out in the fastest truck possible, if that makes any sense. So when it comes down to like protection, like, I understand and I know that there are certain things that may be a little conflicting with certain people's beliefs. And I really hope that even through that, people are able to sift through it. I know there's going to be people that'll never listen to it because of how it's rapped. And I have other songs for them. You know what I'm saying? Like I even when it comes down to physically performing in front of people, I'm able to adapt. Like that's how I've always been as a performer. If I know I'm gonna perform for kids, then I know there's certain things I can't say. I know there's certain things I can't do. But I want that money, so I'm gonna make sure it's appropriate for kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I can adapt in any situation when it comes down to like physically being in front of somebody. There's been so many different times and opportunities where I've had the chance to speak to people, and I like just letting people know how it is, you know, how to get through whatever it is, or you know, whatever they ask me about me, I like to give people my truth. But yeah, I know what you mean about that, and I try to give as much respect as I possibly can to my listeners or my potential new listeners by giving that prologue or that prelude. You know, if you don't agree with it, then you may not want to watch it, or just, you know, be wary. There may be certain images or certain suggestive language that you may not appreciate or want to hear. So if that right there throws you off, then at least they didn't get to hear it in the first place because I gave the warning. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No,
So,
that's
I mean, yeah, and then, you know, my initial question was going to be, well, it was more of a statement and then a question. So, and then based on what you just said, I kind of came up with something else. So let's go back to what I originally was going to say, and that was that. So when you were describing your plan for the community and this, you know, beautiful vision of the impact that you want to make, I first want to say that, like, I love that kind of thing. Like, that sort of thing just takes me from here all the way to 100, because I'm just like, yeah, this is what we need. And it's great when we see artists that even have that on their brain, right? That they want to have an impact. But sometimes where I get lost is to see an artist who has that vision for their community to make a change, to make an impact, and then I'm also I get sort of like in this gray area, and it's with a lot of artists that I sort of have this, because I've at least heard a few artists say something similar to what you're saying in terms of wanting to make change in the community. And then on the flip side, it's kind of like sometimes I listen to the lyrics and I'm like, ooh, wait, who really is this person? So where is the bridge for you in relation to that beautiful vision of community and impact and change and growth and positivity and all of those things that you mentioned versus I'm not going to give no lyrics, but you know, we talked about the fact that some of it is a little risque. So where does the bridge come between those two? I don't even know if I call it an ideology, but where does the bridge come between those two worlds? Let's say worlds.
Well, to answer your question, I'd say that we are kind of getting now to a point where we're able to, for some artists, we're able to differentiate the person from the art. And for example, I'd say, okay, when Ti first got a way to express himself in an interview, first time we ever heard him actually use like real words. You know, no one really expected for him to be as educated as he was, but now we know that. For another example, this is a little different, but Jay-Z is another example. Later on in his musical career, he has actually changed his music to fit, you know, like who he is now.
Yep.
Which
he's mature.
is
He's matured, in my
yeah, he's
opinion.
mature. Exactly. But it's still seeing, like, you know, the art in his whole catalog, and then what he's doing now as a person. And there's so many other examples. So me personally, I take that and I say, look, you know, art is a form of expression, Expression is done in so many different ways, even past art. So what I want to do is, I want to show people like what I'm capable of, like outside of the studio. Like, who am I when I walk up to your front door? Like, who do you see? What do you get from that? Who am I when I talk to you? Who am I when I'm able to make an impact in the community? A few years ago, I even did a performance at it was like an event that was based on raising awareness to human trafficking, and I performed there as well. So sometimes art just kind of brings that how do you say it? Sometimes art it frees you from the situation. I say it like that. And human trafficking is a really huge issue here in Savannah. Savannah has always been one of the most important ports of America because it goes back to slavery. And they held on to that title, but now slavery is still alive in another form. Not only does human trafficking get pushed through here, but there's drugs, and I mean it gets crazy. Drugs, weapons, I mean all type of stuff that you can't imagine. The stuff that you see in the movies, it really does exist. I'm not saying that I've seen these things personally, but these are facts. These are literally like common facts that we all know here. So that event was meant to raise that awareness. Like, look, this is real and this needs to stop. And these are the things that we can do. These are the things that we can put in place governmentally, that we can do to help stop this. So the people that I was performing for were police officers, government officials, people that actually want to make that change. And we wrote a song that was dedicated to that event. So yeah, like I said, like when it comes down to like really like reaching my hand into situations, being able to shape the community, my art is just a form of expression of my personal life. But when I go and I affect other people, personally, I want to make sure that they get as much positivity as possible. Also, my art is also a form of like, I'm not gonna lie, the music that I've listened to growing up, like it like I say, I internalize music and it comes out. It's a form of different music that I like. You know what I'm saying? So uh, I've listened to all these different artists and I've shaped and I've come up with my own subgenre that I believe is true to like the type of music that I like. Just all the music I like, just put on, smushed all in one ball. So that's another thing. But what I do like to do is let people know, okay, yes, this is my music. This is what I do when I'm in the booth. But when I step out of that booth, I still have a responsibility to be, still true to me, but still spread positivity. Like there are people out there that are confused because they feel that they have to one talk about, killing and shooting and raping and robbing, and then they got to go out and they got to do it because, oh yeah, I'm talking about killing and shooting and raping and robbing, so I got to go out there and kill and shoot and rape and rob so people believe me. But there are so many different like interviews. If you go and you look up like Vlad TV and you look up the Breakfast Club and all these other interviews where it's literally talked about, and I was actually going to post an excerpt from one of these interviews today. You can't go and like, you can't how do we put this? There was a situation with Charlemagne the God, or I'm sorry, that I shouldn't even say that, but Charlemagne, where he got into a situation with Birdman, and one of Birdman's artists threatened him online, and he said, honestly, I don't feel threatened. Like, you can say that, but I don't feel threatened because at the end of the day, you just snitched on yourself online. Like, to do that is stupid. So there's a lot of people that are literally like living in stupidity. They're blinded by this facade that's put up by music and art. They're not able to separate the two. So I think that I can separate the two, me personally, in my own artistry in my own life, but I can also show examples of that separation by actually going out and doing what I can do, in real life. But still, like I say, like in my music, I'm talking about things that I've done, I think, I want. I'm talking about these. This is me. Like, I'm not acting. It's still, it's me being true. So at the end of the day, like, we all have faults. We're nobody's perfect. I'm just showing my imperfections in my music. I'm showing what I deem to be perfect, and I'm showing what I deem is still a part of myself through forms of imperfection and other forms of artistry. So I mean, you would conclude my music up to be secular. For now, yeah, I mean that's the word for it. For now, I'm going to grasp it and hold on to it, but shape it when I do have the power to do so in the future. Like you said, Jay-Z mature with his music. That's because he has the power to do so. He's on a platform now where he can say or do whatever he wants to do and not think about consequences from some label or somebody saying, "Oh, no, you can't say that, you can't do that, blah blah blah." Now, there are other things that people may, talk about and think, that he goes through. They could be true, they could be not true. He could have some other higher up saying what he can and cannot do. Because at the end of the day, what I'm seeing his money go towards are not the things that I care about them going towards. There are some things that he does, indulge in, but there's other things where he,
Sure. Mm-hmm.
freed up DMX from his contract. Okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
DMX, but what about, these brothers struggling in the street? You know what I'm saying? What about
Right.
it's so many different things that actually matter, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you
Mm-hmm.
spent millions of dollars to free DMX from his contract when those millions of dollars could have gone to literally anything else. So like I said, I hope none of the stuff I'm saying on this thing is gonna stop me from what I want to do. But these are things that I want to do. Like you asked me a question, I gave you an answer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna do that.
Right. So we talked about on our show before, we talked about the fact that some people expect our artists to be leaders, right? And we had a sister on the show, Sister Khadija, who expressed that her stand was that, we really shouldn't be sort of putting our artists in a position of being leaders because they're for the most part, presenting their artistry, and they didn't necessarily sign up to be leadership for the community. But my question to you is, do you ever feel that pressure to be in a leadership role as an artist? And what is that like if you do?
Well, can you hear me? Because my AirPods
Yes.
died.
Yes.
People. Okay, first of all, I'm pretty humble. People act kind of fact out.
Breaking
So
up a little bit.
in the past, people have always told me that I was the leader. I have that quality, that charisma. I have that aura of myself that I'm built to lead. Um, done that in many different forms in my past. Now I know you mean a leader on a broader scale,
Yes. Yes.
and for a much higher purpose. I will say that eventually I want to be in a leadership position. I don't want to be in politics, but I do feel like if I have the opportunity or the chance to, and I could actually make changes with it, I would. But like I said, I would have to get to that point to be able to, financially support that campaign and blah blah blah, and actually do the things that I say that I'm gonna do as that leader. Um, there are many different forms of leadership. There are many different things that you could lead. I would just say I would like to just lead by example. I don't want to really like have like a specific like this is your title, this is what you do, this is what you have to do for the. I want to have the freedom to like move around the world and say I see a problem here, I see a problem there, or I see that I can make an impact here or make an impact there. So I would say that I don't want to be like really like tied up with the title of a specific leader of a specific thing. I just want to, like I said, lead by example. People do look up to artists. That is a true fact. Artists are the reason why we have a lot of going on. Artists is also the reason why we have a lot of negative things. I understand that. And I honestly feel like compared to the other secular music that's out there, I'm still keeping certain activity. I
can't cross it. Like I can't allow myself to cross that line because really I want to light. I am a light, and I need to lead the way in direction. So with my experiences, like I told y'all, like those things that I've been through and the things that I've learned through it, I don't have any with helping people get those, leading them through, you know, things. I do know for a fact that education is one of the things that I hold myself. So probably one of the things that I more than likely the main thing that I want to really get into. I want to really educate, or not even educate. I don't know everything, but I want to be able to set up a structure for more um, people knowing. Because I do a lot of research. Like I'm a researcher at heart. Because I like to, if I have a question, like I said, Google's not even. Same time, I know how to like know if something is fact or not, even through certain. But like I said, like I want people to like generally have like knowledge where they can things, or they can take knowledge from so many different things and apply it to one main thing that maybe that. I just want to give the platform to be able to for them to think. Act, like I said before, actually being able to be involved in certain situations that are similar to what I want to do, like that has given me even more want and need and with well, I just want to do it a little differently. I want to as important from those situations that we're in, and then some other there's still to be like to be strong, you know what I'm saying? To be whole. And households that are broken, don't have role models, no type of so they bring that to school, and then they those mannerisms and whatnot to their class. I've seen, trust me, I've seen it myself. I've had kids come to me, I act as their older brother. I would say I correct certain things. I see it corrected. Then maybe a few days later, I see them come back with something else, and I know they're getting it from their house. They're not getting it from anywhere else. So I want to be that second home for them. And if I can provide that opportunity for them to see an example of better, then I'm gonna do it. Like that's the one of the main things I want to do. I want to educate. We don't have enough people who are pursuing the jobs that are important in our society. Me myself, yeah, I'm a musician, but I also enjoy technology. I'm a repair tech, so I fix just about anything: computers, tablets, TVs, phones, just about anything. And I'm wanting to learn more and more. I've had a lot of experience working in refurbishment plants. I've managed a repair tech store for 2 years. I've worked in a school district where I repaired all their computers in the school district. Like I've had a lot of experience. If I didn't have that trade, I don't know what I'd be making money from right now. I money from music, but it's all of my bills. You know what I'm saying? I need kids to have trades before they even need to have a trade. And not even just one. I want them to know multiple things. So like I said, education is important because without being educated, then you cannot be employed. Without employment, you turn to the streets. When you turn to the streets, there's dogs waiting for you. And I'm not just the people in the streets. I'm talking about literally cops out there that want to kill somebody. They're waiting for you, and then the prison system is still really out of whack the way it is. So it's just a path that you lead down to. And I feel like it starts with education. Yeah, that's one of the things. That's one of the fundamentals that it starts with. So if I can just full on attack that fundamental, then I'm going to do that. I may not necessarily be there myself, teaching classes myself, but I would love to have, people with some paper behind their name, in a frame, to teach kids what they know. So, yeah. That's literally, if you want to talk about leadership, that's how I want to lead. I want to lead our community down a path of, look, you don't have to get your money from robbing, killing, and raping and stealing. Like, you don't have to get your money from that. Literally, this is easier. There's so much less stress that comes from this. Yeah, there's the stress of the regular workplace. Think about more stress that you have thinking that someone's going to turn that corner and shoot you, or thinking that somebody's going to steal your drugs and kill your mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a way different type of stress that you don't have to deal with. So I really just don't want them to even experience those type of things. And I'm gonna try my best to do it. That's like that's my main focus, like my main purpose, I would say.
Excellent. I know, I love it. And I just think that you're making a lot of good, valid, very valid, crucial points, bringing up a lot of crucial concerns that we face as a people in the community, in the artist world, in terms of leadership. I'd like to just put a couple caveats here as we wind down this discussion, we wind down the show. A couple caveats that I just offer what you just said, Brother Khalil. What you just said, everyone is born an innate leader. Innate. It's an innate feature that we all have as human beings, that we all born with. So even though we say we don't want the title, it's not about the title. Like you say in front of my name is the Imam. You know what I'm saying? That's innate. It's innate nature, man. And us as men, and us men specifically, us brothers, you know what I'm saying? That's something that's already clocked into us naturally, and that's in the natural environment. You know what I'm saying? And what we're seeing now is the unbalance of the natural environment. We're living in a time of Pharaoh and his scheme to basically demolish and destroy leadership, castrate the leaders. You know what I'm saying? And basically leave the women, which is the society, which is symbolic of the world, the society at large, leave them to like take on extra work, extra responsibilities. She has to work 2 jobs. She has like mad kids. Beloved ain't paying child support. Dude's in prison, locked up in the prison industrial complex. All these things are what I call, the castration of leadership today. You know what I'm saying? And my last point, which is I think summarizes a lot, of your struggle, of your story, Brother Khalil, and I think a lot of people can relate to what you shared this evening with us. And this is hadith, or the report of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this was referenced to Umar, one of his companions. Umar ibn Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him. He entered the place of prayer. And he saw a man drunk praying, messing up the surahs, and this drunk man. He was just crazy. He was just looking crazy. And mind you, this was the Jahiliyyah days, man, the days of ignorance which we're living in now. You know what I'm saying? So at the time, Umar ibn Khattab, he himself was coming from a life of him being a drunk. Before he met the Prophet, before he eventually took his Shahada, his declaration of faith, making him a Muslim. But they were still struggling as a people during that time because, again, the ayah, the verse wasn't revealed about intoxicants and gambling as a scheme of the handiwork of the shaitan. It wasn't revealed yet. So Umar ibn Khattab was upset. He went to the Prophet and asked the Prophet, this man is drunk and he's praying. Umar wanted to kill him. That's what the hadith said. He wanted to kill him. The Prophet said, no, wait, hold up. Maybe this is his way, he can find his way back to Allah. At least he's trying to make the attempt to come back to his senses, perhaps. So the reason why I bring up this report is because in the streets, right? In the streets, we used to have OGs and elders who used to G-check the youth. If you wasn't engaged, if your mom or your father or your blood didn't catch you out doing wrong, someone else in the neighborhood caught you out doing wrong. And they would give you a spanking back in the days. I mean, this is I'm talking about our fathers and grandparents' days. They don't do that no more because of child abuse. Got strict on that. But there will be checks of balance. In Al-Islam, this is for saying that we want for our brothers what we want for ourselves, and we want to be mirrors mirrors for our brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? So if we see our brother or sister doing wrong, politely pull their coat, respectfully pull their coat. You know what I'm saying? And tell them in a respectful in manner. You know what I'm saying? And then there's the other example that the Prophet demonstrated, which was patience or sabr, patience in dealing with the people and the times that they were living in, and saying, well, this person just reverted or just converted to Islam and just accept it. So don't come down too hard on him just yet. Help them out. Help the brother, help the sister out. You know what I'm saying? Don't just say, oh, he's drunk, blah, 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 blah. You know, chastise him, brother, that's no good. You know, these guys is crazy. And that's why we have a lot of unbalance when we in the streets at. You know what I'm saying? There's no structure. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I just want to put those caveats out there, you know what I'm saying? Because I think they're very important, you know, to what you're saying, you know, and it holds some validity to what you're saying. And we would like to thank you again, Really Khalil, for making the time out to be with us tonight on this show. Your story is definitely impactful. I mean, it definitely touched me because I definitely could relate to several aspects of what you pointed out to this evening. And you know, we not only pray for you, you know, on your journey through life, but we're here for you. New Freedom Exchange is your home. This is your platform. You know, whatever you need from us, you know, we're here for you. We're here to support you, in, you know, just in life in general. This is what we say to all of our people, all of our guests who are coming to this platform, because this is bigger than just a digital platform. This is a family. This is the Jamaat. This is what we want to establish, a community now, community development and empowerment through empowerment. So, you know, any last thoughts, Really Khalil, that you have? Like, would you give a one little nugget, if you had to give a nugget to an artist or to a young person, just a young person in general in the community, what would you say to that person?
I would say that a lot of the world is meant to break us down.
Mm.
It's literally up to you to prevent it.
Man.
So even at your lowest time, just know you can be whole just by wanting to be whole. Yeah, I've been there. So if there's even just like how you said, you know, to your artists that you're there for us, I say that I'm there for anyone who could be going through something that's similar to my story. You know, just hit me up. Just hit me up, DM me, email me, whatever. I'm super accessible on all social platforms. That's Really Khalil, ReallyKhalil, really everywhere. Yeah, hit me up and let me know. And I'm the type of person, I'm not gonna blast your stuff out. I'm not gonna tell everybody what you're going.
Excellent. Definitely appreciate that. And just a few announcements before we close out. And if Sister Marsha, if you have anything to add, but just a few announcements. This is, and again, New Freedom Exchange. If you like what you're hearing, seeing this evening, you can also find us on Facebook, New Freedom Exchange. Also find us on Instagram, New Freedom Exchange as well, and YouTube as well, New Freedom Exchange. Like and share, comment, share this discussion. Also, scrolling at the bottom is our Patreon, which is for our NFX daily digital platform. We have several tiers for subscriptions. We're on a quest of providing daily digital content as part of this platform, and your help will be super beneficial, as long as some comes with some cool perks as well. So check it out, patreon.com/NFX daily. And last but not least, the Bilalian Trust. The Bilalian Trust is basically a heritage fund to preserve our culture and our history, our historical culture, and contributions to the world, to the society at large. You can make your financial contributions to that at the Bilalian Trust. We get that rolling on the screen. There we go. Bilalian Trust, PayPal.me/Bilalian Trust. Again, you can donate whatever you want, and we'll send you. Actually, we completed our first pamphlet for the Human Dignity series that we have out. So you can donate $1. You can get the pamphlet. So it doesn't really matter. So we take large and small donations. So other than that, that is all I have. Sister Marsha, do you have any closing remarks, announcements?
Yeah, so I just wanted to thank Really Khalil for being with us today. Thank you for taking the ride with us. As you can see, we when we have artists on, we absolutely address your artistry, but we also address social aspects of your artistry and how it relates. So I definitely thank you for going on that journey with us. I thank you for sharing your vision. I can't wait to see what is to come for you. I think it's going to be big. I see your heart is what I want to say, and it's definitely ever present, and I can't wait for what's to come. So, like Bilal said, we'll be making dua for success for you, so that those visions of community development and empowerment and being impactful for the sake of our people and our children can come to life.
Yeah, okay, we may have to come down and see you, man. We may have to come down to Savannah. NFX, we may bring Dean. We may have to bring down the bus, man. We have to come down to Savannah.
Road trip.
Go check the brother out, man. You have any comments? Last comments, Brother Dean? It's only right, man. Anything last?
You gotta mute. Yeah, everything is good, man. Yeah, we definitely gotta come down there. I might be down there this weekend. Actually, they have a big camp out in Toomsboro, Georgia. We was thinking about taking that ride, but definitely let you know. And we definitely do want to get down there and bust it up. We haven't seen each other in a big minute.
Yeah.
I mean, last time I seen it, he definitely had that hair flowing like that. I mean, he got the muscles popping through his shirt, man. You know what I mean? He's a grown man on me, you know what I mean? That's what's up, man. You know what I mean? But no, I definitely appreciate you, bro. Actually, with the tech thing, we actually working on online courses, so we definitely want to get with you on that, because if you teach what you teach, we definitely have a platform for you to put your materials on and stuff like that. So that's going to be NFX Learn. That's coming real soon. We almost finished up our first project with that as well. So again, appreciate you, love you. Hope to see you soon. Stay blessed, man.
Peace, everybody. Good night.
Peace.
Peace, everybody. Assalamualaikum.
Feeling really emotional, man. Bravo, I appreciate you, man. Mac, I appreciate you, man. Davey, what's up, man? It's our time, man. Jesse Jackson, he said that we are somebody. America treat us like we ain't nobody. We need help from somebody. I'm getting tired of seeing black bodies. We'll be okay, that's what my mama said. We unhealed, that's what the trauma said. Yes, we can, that's what Obama said. American terror, that's what Osama said. You wanna break something, go and break the ceiling. You wanna start something, go and start the healing. How you wanna raise hell but won't raise your children? Wanna burn the building but won't start building. I want the violence to decrease, whether it's the streets or it's the police. Yo, be a real one, stay away from snakes. I gotta make a change, no time to waste.
Tell me what you see when you look at me. Is it something that you hate, or something that you wanna be? Help me understand how you can be so mad at my existence. On our way to freedom, on our way to freedom, fighting for our freedom, fighting for our freedom. On our way to freedom, on our way to freedom, fighting for our freedom, fighting for our freedom.
The system ain't broken, doing what it's supposed to do. Realest words spoken. Kill us in live and live in color. Brother choking, called on his mother, dead in the open. Anybody go and break some glass. It take a real one, bro, to give a class. Anyone can pull a gun and start to blast, but it takes a real man to give a pass. Be proactive, not reactive. How I make a change, Bashir? Be active. Boy, you go and sell some dope, but won't go and vote. Father left early, he don't know how to cope. I came too far, boy, can't fail. They said I'm a sellout. Shit, what I sell? I don't never fold, I don't never fold. And what's not for sale, brother, is my soul. Question you gotta answer, brother, what's your goal? You wanna be a diamond or stay cold? You gotta change the system. Shit, you can break a window, but they gon' fix them. My point is, you expect a racist to change? He ain't the problem. You gotta change your brain. Benefit from oppression, but when you gon' change and learn the lesson? When you gon' realize that you a blessing? Gotta work, in the afterlife I'll do my resting. When you gon' realize that you the blessing? Gotta work, in the afterlife I'll do my resting. It's the truth.
Freedom is not won by a passive acceptance of suffering. Freedom is won by a struggle against suffering. Racial understanding is not something that we find, but something that we must create. What is needed is a realization that power without love is reckless and abusive, and that love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love, implementing the demands of justice. Justice at its best is love correcting everything that stands against